What's up, YouTube? I'm Brett from RANTS. As always, guys, if y'all enjoy our content, don't forget to like, subscribe, and leave that comment down below. Alright, so as many of y'all probably already heard, Scarlett Johansson is suing Disney over its simultaneous release on Disney Plus of the already released Black Widow movie. According to her, it was a breach of the contract that they had made with her, that it was going to be solely a theatrical release and not going to be placed on Disney Plus simultaneously. Of course, that makes sense. What I find striking and really kind of confusing is that in her contract it stated that basically that depending upon the performance of the film is how much she actually got paid. So when it was put on Disney Plus and it didn't make huge box office numbers, then of course, she didn't get paid as much as what she had hoped she would get paid. Now, of course, this, on YouTube, everybody's going crazy about this. They are talking about Disney hypocrisy. They're talking about, about them not supporting women and, mocking them for that. And I guess you could say that could be a part of it. But in this one instance, I kind of lean on the side of Disney. Now, I'm not saying that they should have broke contract with her by any stretch of the imagination. If they had said in the contract that it was going to be solely released in theaters, then they should have stuck by that contract. They're obligated to stick by it. And Scarlett Johansson, with every right of her, has the right to go and file suit and maybe get the money that she didn't get from the success of the film out of Disney. I'll say this: the reason why I tend to lean on the side of Disney when it comes to this one instance is because of this. It says right here, the Walt Disney Company has fired back at Scarlett Johansson's lawsuit over the release of Black Widow in a biting statement in which it said that the litigation showed a callous disregard to the COVID-19 pandemic and even revealed that she has so far received $20 million from this project. A Disney spokesperson said there is no merit whatsoever to this filing. The lawsuit is especially sad and distressing in its callous disregard for the horrific and prolonged global effects of the COVID-19 pandemic. Disney has fully complied with Ms. Johansson's contract, and furthermore, the release of Black Widow on Disney Plus with premiere access has significantly enhanced her ability to earn additional compensation on top of the $20 million she has received to date. It goes on to state in her lawsuit filed on Thursday in Los Angeles Superior Court, Johansson claims that the day and date release of Marvel's Black Widow on Disney Plus and in theaters was a breach of her contract. The lawsuit contends that Disney Plus released siphoned potential theater goers, costing her potential compensation tied to the movie's theatrical revenue. Now, look, this is the way I look at it, and this is why I said I kind of go on the side of Disney, is because we're in a whole new world right now. We're in a world that Disney is very unsure of. We're in a world that movies that they thought were going to be big hits with the return to people being able to go to theaters turned out to be utter bombs that were no good. They were flops at the theater. So I don't necessarily blame Disney when it comes to being, they have a reputation when it comes to Marvel. Marvel has a reputation to uphold as well. They don't necessarily, if they think that a movie might not do good in theatrical release, they can save face and maybe even save money by releasing it on Disney Plus. If it's a success and people flow to the theaters like they did in the first week to see Black Widow, then, they can hail it as a success and basically they get the money's off and the views on with the streaming service, and then they get, big hit with, of course, the theatrical release. At the same time, of course, if it fails, they can always say, well, hold up. That the theatrical, you see what happened with the theatrical release if it's not good, but you're not seeing the streaming numbers and how much we made off of that. That way, it doesn't hurt Marvel or Disney's brand by any stretch of the imagination if this movie fails. Another thing is going into Phase 4 of the MCU. This is basically almost an all female movies, basically, is what they're usually promoting in this phase. Those movies, let's be honest, aren't probably going to do quite as well as, I don't know, the Iron Mans. Of course, you got Doctor Strange too. That'll probably do fairly decent. But as far as Captain Marvel, Black Widow, those aren't necessarily things that people are going to go probably see that much. Let's just face it, they're not. I don't think many people have a problem with Black Widow. I think maybe if 5 years ago they would have released this Black Widow movie, I think it would have done great. It would have been right at the pinnacle of Marvel's or the MCU's success. I think it would have done wonderful at that time. It would have been, it wouldn't be at when Marvel is starting to see maybe a decline. They're not being able, maybe the whole superhero phase is over and done with. It sure appears that way. It looks like this is a downtrodden kind of way. The slope is basically falling off a cliff when it comes to these superhero movies. I'm not using that necessarily as an excuse of why Black Widow didn't do well. Black Widow was a terrible movie in my opinion. It didn't do well because by word of mouth, people weren't saying go out there and see this. And then, of course, you add the distrust when it comes to the media. When the media is hailing something as, as the next greatest thing since sliced bread, well, people aren't necessarily going to listen to it. Rotten Tomatoes is a good example of that. Necessarily people don't focus, just because somebody tells them to go see it, they don't usually go see it because they think that, okay, this is some sort of marketing ploy. This isn't going to be maybe the movie for me. There's a lot of different reasons why this movie failed. But like I said, I believe Scarlett Johansson has a right to seek further compensation for this. But I understand where Disney is coming from by releasing this movie with its streaming service, simply because there's that unknown of whether or not people were actually going to go see the movie or not, for various reasons. Because you can say because of the pandemic, you could say because people weren't interested in Black Widow. This is the good way for them to save face in a lot of different ways. I think people should maybe look at it in that way. The only concern that I would say that I maybe see for anything is, I could be completely and totally wrong about this, and they could be something could be off with Disney Plus. They could be needing some more subscribers to Disney Plus. This could have been a way of maybe attracting those subscribers. It could, look at Netflix. Netflix has lost, thousands and thousands of people already on their subscription service. Who's to say that Disney Plus hasn't done the same? So, that being said, that could also be it. But if I had to guess, I would say because of the uncertainty of not knowing whether fans would go and see the movie in large droves, and the really lack of excitement that is Phase 4 of the MCU, even with Black Widow, which really, like I said, should have been released 5 years ago and would have drawn way more attention, probably would have been a box office success, whether it was good or bad. And then, of course, the decline of the MCU. I can totally understand why Disney did what they did and Marvel did what they did with this. I think this was a movie that they kind of just pieced together to just see if it could make something. It was either going to be a hit or miss all the way around, anyways. I think it was a lot of ways that they can say, look, we put women at the forefront in Phase 4, and one started with, of course, the Black Widow movie, and of course, you've seen WandaVision and Captain Marvel and so forth. I think a lot of that is basically pandering to basically an audience that they don't really have to begin with, but they do it anyways because these are woke companies. But anyways, that is my take on it, guys. Let me know what y'all think in the comments down below. Do you disagree with that? Do you believe that Disney should be made fun about this? Are they hypocritical with all the talk about supporting women, and then they try to basically screw her out of the money that she was owed? I personally find it very strange that they would that she would have a contract that was based off of how well the movie is. Doesn't seem like something that an A-list celebrity would do. But again, it might just be because of this kind of movie, because of the reasons that I had already stated. But guys, let me know what y'all think down below. And as always, guys, thanks for watching. Y'all take care.